Welcome guys, Sean here, and I just want to do a tabletop format, kind of talk at you guys about the M4 Puukko, my thoughts on Puukkos, why the Puukko is probably one of the best kind of formats for a bushcraft knife, and why I feel M4 was definitely one of the best deals for it for sure. So first off, let's talk more about Puukkos. If you don't know anything about Puukkos or bushcraft knives, I mean, we'll get to that in just a second, but first off, let's just kind of talk about how a lot of us really start into getting into the outdoors. A lot of us love the outdoors, we love getting out there, hiking, camping, bushcrafting, and basically I feel like where a lot of us start is really kind of with these kind of overbuilt military knives. There's nothing wrong with them, they're awesome, I love them. They're still some of my favorite knives. I love the brutal power and the strength that you get from something like this for sure. I think over time though, as you start getting definitely more skilled in the woods, you start needing kind of less and less that overbuilt strength and toughness needed for these knives. It's kind of, it goes to a little bit of a waste. You definitely still get the power for sure, but definitely this is a lot of things that a lot of us Americans love. We love our guards on our knives. We love these super massive thicknesses. We love our carbon steels that are soft and easy to sharpen on Arkansas stones for sure. But I think over time, you start to want more performance. And the only way you're going to get that is with kind of a tool that is kind of more specialized for what you're going to use it for. If you live in the woods and you want to make a fire, process wood, do some other things like bushcrafting, getting more involved with the techniques and skills involved with that, then that really leads you to kind of these Scandinavian knives right here, which are also great performers. And the natural evolution of this knife right here is to go with more of the finished design that has just the much higher grind with the slight micro bevel on there. And so that's why I feel like this design is definitely the best, is because we get a fully neutral handle here that doesn't rely on any kind of guards or grips, because you don't need guards or grips if you know how to use your knife, and you're really just kind of losing kind of some of the best functional areas of your knife where you get the most leverage and control right there closest to the bolster. So definitely awesome right there. There's no jimping or anything on there either. Now I love jimping, especially on my Spydercos, and I see the merit to it. I mean, if you're not using your knife that long and you have it in your hand and it just needs to make sure it doesn't slip anywhere as you use it real fast, use it for that one moment and then put it away, then for sure, I mean, it's cool. And it also feels great when you fondle your knife. Here's the problem with jimping though. Friction plus moisture equals blisters. So if you're using a knife like this long periods of time, you'll find that jimping is very detrimental to actually using the knife. And it's just no good. It's very uncomfortable. It tears up your hands, okay? You'll get your hands really torn up. And so you're just not going to have jimping on a knife like this. In order for this knife to work, it works on these smooth contour, the contour of the handle shape itself, and your grip, okay? You need to have strength in your grip. You need to be able to functionally use your body, you know, with this knife in order to make it really work. Another thing I want to talk about now is basically the steel. CPM M4. Why was that chosen as a super steel? I know people can name off about 20 different freaking super steels out there to put on a knife, for sure, you know. The thing is, we need to realize there is no best steel, okay? There's none. People are always asking about it. People are always wanting to know what the best steel is. I've used most of these steels. I've used the S110V, 10V, this and that steel, etc. I can name almost all of them off. The thing about these steels is that there is no best steel. These steels all have attributes to them that are the best for certain things. So when looking at a knife like this, we needed to find a knife. If you wanted the maximum amount of wear resistance, you also need some toughness to back that up if it's going to be used for wood. So with CPM M4, I feel like that's what we have. We have that maximum amount of wear resistance with a relatively good amount of toughness. Unfortunately, stainless steels are just going to be left out of the picture. For whatever reason, adding chromium to that steel just detrimentally affects the edge performance of any knife. You have to realize that is just, it's a trade-off for sure. You're not going to see any giant competition choppers in stainless steels. You're never going to see a stainless steel axe that's of any high quality. The reasoning behind that, I've actually done a video talking about a stainless Mora and a carbon Mora, and the thing is about that, I've since talked to some people that are definitely more experienced and more knowledgeable than me, and basically what they've told me is that, hey Sean, Basically, we don't know why. And no, yes, that's a good theory about the chromium gunking up the alloy itself and the matrix of the steel. But in all honesty, people actually just don't even know. And if you really want to know, then you're just going to have to pay money to get the research done on that. You know, $5,000, $10,000. And it's really hard to get research done on something if you're not going to get money back on that research. So, I mean, if you want to donate money for that, then yeah, definitely go for it. But you're not donating it to me because I'm not a scientist. I'm just an enthusiast. So, let's talk more and more about this M4 steel. So, definitely one of the cool things about the M4 steel is that the toughness at high hardness. So we're at 63 HRC on this CPM M4 steel, and this 52100 carbon steel is at 60. And so it's able to hold that high amount of Rockwell hardness without basically just self-destructing. So for this knife right here, 63 for a wood carving blade is going to be the max red line hardness that we can get out of a knife while still having that relative amount of edge stability, because we also have to realize that this knife is incredibly thin behind the edge. We're about 10 hundredths behind the edge. Most of your folding knives that are really thin grinds and flat grinds are still 20 hundredths, so you have to realize that as well. As well as the fact that, I mean, if we did one more point of hardness on this knife right here, it would probably just explode. So we're at the maximum amount of hardness I can find for a knife this thin that's going to carve the wood good. If you're going to use M4 for something like a hunting knife, you know, where you're just cutting soft proteins, or something like a kitchen knife, or maybe even just a folder, you can definitely jack the hardness up much more. I mean, Benchmade's M4 is about 64. I know that if you had a hunting knife, you could probably get 65, 66 out of it, okay? Just almost just a giant solid piece of crystal, steel crystal. So, very cool stuff. But for these knives, we have to fix the heat treat to make sure it's at the proper hardness for something that we're going to be using these knives for, okay? And so 63, I mean, almost that red hardness, okay? We can't go any harder than that for these knives. M4, if you don't know, also just has a ton of carbides inside of it, okay? We have high amounts of all the different carbides. We got 4% vanadium, which is the same amount as something like S30V, but then we also have the softer carbides such as molybdenum. We have more of that, I think about 3-4% of the molybdenum. Then we also have tungsten in about 5%, and then we also have some chromium in about 4%. So great steel. You have close to about 1.5% carbon, which also helps mingle with all those carbides to help form them inside the steel. So great stuff. I like the M4 a lot. Definitely, this knife was basically just kind of a grail for me. I've always wanted a really high-end PM steel inside of a really top-performing design. I really kind of helped with the science behind the materials that I sold to Daniel, but it's really Daniel, guys, that did the magic here, the craftsmanship, the beauty, okay? And it was definitely an honor to work with somebody like Daniel to bring these knives to you guys. Also, I just want to say a special thanks to the people that purchased and supported this project. It's definitely been really awesome. You know, when you're making something like this, you're always kind of nervous, you know, thinking like, wow, I don't know if anyone's really going to see the merit that I do as far as how this stuff's going to perform and stuff, and if they're willing to pay more for something like that. But I was definitely completely blown away to see the support that people showed for basically getting a higher end super steel inside of an awesome design like this for people that get out there in the woods and use these knives, as well as maybe just collectors that just enjoy the rich history of Finnish style knives and Puukkos in general. So it's been very cool, and definitely have been enjoying that a lot. So thank you a lot, guys. There was only 5 spots. Sorry about that, guys. I just can't purchase that much steel to get made, because you know, I'm just one dude. But yeah, definitely very cool. So thanks, guys. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for supporting all this different stuff that I've been doing. And yeah, we'll definitely have to make more videos in the future about these knives, as well as there's going to be more things that I'm going to do with these knives that unfortunately are not going to make it to video, because you know, I also just want to enjoy these knives and just you know, use them as I see fit. So it's great. I'll share what I can, but really I just want to get out there and have fun. Alright, guys, so thanks for watching. Take care.